Hey guys, Nomad here, and I figured I'd drop you guys a video and tell you I'll be coming up with a gearless video here soon, and tell you about a couple of trips that I've already been on the AT here in the past. First one, there were just like some overnight and a couple day trips. First one, we went out with my little brother, and we went in at the West Virginia border and went south into the Dave Lesnar shelters. And we just went down there for a couple of days, camped out and everything, and hiked back out. Well, when we got to the shelters and we set up, we were just going to set up our hammocks and stuff, kind of chill out and just relax before we hiked down to the spring and get some water. Well, this woman out of fucking nowhere just appears out of the woods, crunchy hippie looking lady. She was so fast and appeared out of nowhere right in front of us. Didn't introduce herself, didn't say a name or anything like that. She's like, "Hey guys, would you like some trail magic?" And we were both kind of freaked out because it was our first time on the AT. We really didn't hear anything or do too much research about the AT at this time. We were like, "Hey, there's a really long trail over here. We'd like to hike a bit on it." Didn't know anything about trail magic. And we were both like, what's going on? This lady's like, "Why are you guys so apprehensive? Take it. So I eventually just like, like dumbfounded stupidity and everything. I was like, "Oh, okay." And I reached out and I take the this baggie that she handed out, and here was a bar of just like regular Hershey's dark chocolate. And my brother was just laughing at me about it because I took the baggie and stuff. And then eventually, though, I actually ate some of the dark chocolate. And he was like, "Oh, you had chocolate running down the sides of your mouth and everything." I was like, "Actually, no, I didn't." But it was pretty good, though. And it was a nice little treat. But afterwards, though, we actually started getting into research on trail magic and find out it was an actual thing. I was like, "Holy cow." But this woman, as fast as she appeared, as soon as I grabbed that baggie, she took off and disappeared out into the woods. And we didn't see her again. She didn't tell us her name, her trail name, or nothing. That's all she said to us. And she was gone. She didn't even say goodbye. She just bolted out of there. So that was the first weird experience though that I had on the AT. That was the first time we hiked out there. Now, the second time, me and my same brother went out, but this time we took Pap with us. And we went back down into the Dave Lesnar shelters, and we kind of messed with Pap and stuff like that because it was really hot that day, and they had some loaded down packs. I think Pap's pack was close to around 50 pounds, and Ben's was his was 48, and mine was 38. That's with food and water and everything. And I was packing this time I had a medium sized Alice pack, and we went down in to the shelters again. But we messed with Pap because we knew we were about a mile before the shelters, so we were good to go. We knew that there was going to be some water down there because we'd done some research, and so we messed with Pap, and he's like, "Oh man, bud," he's like, "I don't know if I'm going to make it." He's like, "I need something to drink bad," and me and Ben started messing with him. We're like, "Oh yeah, Pap is like, I don't know, you're going to die out here or something because it's another 8 miles before we get down to the shelters." He's like, "Oh no, that's terrible." And we get to the shelters and just kind of had a laugh about it. But we get there, set up camp and everything, just kind of chilling out. And again, somebody pops out of the woods. And this person looked like a thru hiker, but he wasn't a thru hiker. And eventually he approached us. He's like, hey, does any of you guys have a cell phone on you that I could borrow? And we're both kind of like looking at each other. It's like, and I was like, yeah. He's like, yeah, man. He's like, I got a phone. He's like, what do you need it for? He's like, well, and he started getting all teary eyed and said, well, I need to use it to call my mom. And I was like, okay, you can do that. Go ahead. I was like, well, where's your mom at? And he told us, I was like, well, she lives over in Michigan. I was like, okay, go ahead, give her a call and everything. And he gave her a call and was bawling his eyes out, saying, he's like, I'm sorry for everything that I've done and all this and that and everything, you know. And he told her, I was like, I've been out here on Appalachian Trail, just kind of living off the land. I'm like, wait, what? That people don't normally do that whenever they're on a trail. So that was a red flag that popped up. And he then continues the cry and everything about, and then mentions, he's like, yeah, Mom, I'm really sorry because I decided I'm thinking a lot about it, and I've been thinking about going back into town, the closest town, and just turning myself in. I'm like, oh, whoa, another red flag. So he finally hangs up with his mom, and then hands me back my phone and everything, and says, yo, thank you for that and stuff like that. And he tells us his story. So he was in trouble with the law, I guess, for possession of a very large sum of marijuana, and thought he would come out here. He got scared and ran and thought he would come out onto the Appalachian Trail and live off the land. Just like work his way up and down, like stay north in the summer and hike down south in the winter and everything. And he was kicking his ass. And he's like, I just had enough of it and everything, and just thought, I was like, enough running and everything. I'm just turn myself in. He's like, I was like, okay. I was like, what's your plan and everything? He's like, well, I'm going to hike back up into Harper's Ferry and go to the police station. He's like, I tell you what, he's like, I got a bunch of gear up here and everything. He's like, I'm obviously not going to need it anymore. You guys are more than welcome to help yourselves to it. So we were kind of like, I really don't want to take your gear, bud, but fuck it. I was like, well, if you're going to give it away, I mean, okay, we'll take a look at it. So Pap ended up getting an axe out of it. Ben got like a sleeping bag and a few other things. I got a multi-tool and a fire starter, and so we took what we thought we wanted and everything, and he's like, well, you know, thank you guys for, you know, let me use your phone again, and then he took off. Well, we never hear back from this guy again. Never hear anything, you know. Thought it was over. About a month later, I get a phone call from Michigan, and I was like, huh, that's odd. I don't know anybody in Michigan at this time. So I went ahead and answered it. I'm like, hello? I was like, who is this? And Chick is on the other line, and she's like, yeah, this is so and so. Do you remember my brother? And I was like, you're going to have to be a little bit more specific. And she's like, well, you guys ran into him on the Appalachian Trail, and he used your phone. This is the number that he called from. I was like, oh, yeah, I remember the guy. So, fuck, she's like, what happened? She told me what happened, and she's like, do you have any idea where he might be at, or have you heard anything from him? I was like, no. And then she told us what happened. This dude walked into Harper's Ferry, went to go turn himself in, and the Harper's Ferry cops told him, was like, we don't extradite for drug charges, even if you've been caught with a kilo of marijuana. Like, we don't extradite to Michigan for that. So sorry about your luck. They just turned him loose. I felt so bad because now this dude's sitting out there with no sleeping bag, no fire starter, no multi-tool, and yeah, it was a pretty rough time for him. But that was every time I've been on the Appalachian Trail so far, weird stuff has happened. So this ought to be a really fun trip because now I'm going to be on the trail for the duration. I'm wondering what kind of crazy shit's going to kick off this time. So stay tuned. We'll see.